what happens at an arraignment. On today's podcast, we will explain what happens at an arraignment, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, and even a few spelling tips about the word arraignment.
This is the Lady Lawyer League podcast, Omaha's leading lady lawyers, empowering women to be legal savvy. Hosted by Susan Reff and Tracy Hightower-Henne of Hightower-Reff Law.
Welcome back to the Lady Lawyer League podcast.
Are you talking really quiet on purpose?
No.
Oh. Like sexy bedroom voice?
Was that really that low?
I don't know what your sexy bedroom voice sounds like.
It's not that. All right.
Save that for next episode?
Yeah, episode 10. That'll be the season finale. The season finale. All right.
Sexy bedroom voice.
What are we talking about today? Arraignments.
Arraignments. It's fun court time.
Wait, can you spell it? Don't look.
Arraignment.
Nope, the G's before the N.
Arraigning.
Yeah, you said arraignment. All right.
Arraignment. That could happen too.
It's kind of like the word reign in like a king reigning.
Yeah.
So the G's before the N.
Or the word sign.
Yes, or like the word sign. But it's not like one of those I before E except after C. Except
G
for
before
the word,
N.
Except for the word weird is not after C, but it's E and
Such
I.
a weird exception to the rule.
So I once won a spelling bee. Did you know that?
Yes, you've told me, 46 times.
Do you know what other
this year
I've won in my childhood? 'Cause I'm wondering how many times I told you this one.
Pie eating?
No.
Well, what other things? Tap dancing?
No.
Hula hooping.
Yes.
See, you did tell me.
I knew it. I knew you'd get there.
Okay, what else? Let's see. What other contests have you won?
No, it's just the hula hooping.
In life?
And spelling bee.
All before the age of
Probably 12.
15?
It was once at a summer pool.
Was it the same event?
No.
ARR.
No, it was at a summer. It was at a summer pool, and
The spelling bee was at a pool?
No, the hula hoop. And so it was like, all right, kids, whoever wants to do the hula hoop contest. And I go up and I start hula hooping, and then they're like, as kids stop, they fall out.
Yeah.
And I just kept going, but I can't do it now. Can you hula hoop?
No. Did you get a prize?
I don't think so.
Or a ribbon?
I don't think so.
no.
I think it was like an impromptu.
Yeah.
Here's some 10 hula hoops. Kids, get up here. They didn't have it planned. There was no trophy.
Oh.
But I should get one now.
You should. A hula hoop?
No, a trophy.
Oh. Have you seen those weighted hula hoops?
Yeah, that's too much work though. That's
Have
like
you
a
tried it?
workout. No.
Oh.
It's a workout.
Well, I don't know if you tried it. I mean,
Have
maybe.
you tried it?
I can't hula hoop, so
Well, maybe you can with the weight.
I doubt it. I'm not very good at. I can't hula hoop. I can't throw a frisbee.
Oh yeah, you are bad at frisbees. I've seen this.
Yeah, I can't throw a frisbee. So I just avoid these things.
Round things.
I can throw a football.
Oh, I can't do that.
Okay. Yeah, that's about it. I don't know that I can think of.
Frisbee's so much easier than throwing a football.
You think so, but I don't.
Okay.
All
right. So what is an arraignment with a GN, not an NG?
NG. Arraignment GN. So an arraignment is a formal hearing when you're charged with a crime. It only comes up in criminal cases. There's no arraignment in civil cases. So it's the hearing.
Unless you're being held in contempt in a divorce action.
They arraign you?
There is, yeah, because you do a written denial.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so that's one exception.
I'm not sure if it's exactly the same, but
maybe it's spelled with an NG. It's a different type of arraignment.
So in a criminal case, when you appear for the first time in front of a judge, they arraign you by telling you what you're charged with. It's like the formal reading of your rights also. So they say, Tracy, you've been charged with hula hooping after dark. And then they tell you what the penalties for that charge are. 5 days in jail, no more pool entry after dark. And then they tell you what your rights are. You have the right to an attorney, blah, blah, blah. And then they ask you how you want to plead.
They get into the Constitution.
Yes, for sure.
So when I've seen arraignments, and this is back in, I don't know, back in the day when our office used to be across the street from courthouse, I would be like, I'm going to go sit in any courtroom and just see what happens.
You'd watch arraignments.
Yeah, I would watch arraignments. So I would sit in the back of the courtroom, and they do it, what's called a cattle call advisory of their rights, right?
Yes, like where they tell everyone in the room at the same time, hey, everybody, here's what your rights are.
Listen up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some judges do that, not all.
Oh. It seems efficient. They say the sort of constitutional, is it the Bill of Rights that they're going over?
No.
They say all of this one time, because oftentimes there's 30 people at a time in one courtroom.
Yeah. But then everybody that comes up afterwards, they're like, Ms. Hightower, did you hear when I explained all the rights to Mr. Smith? And everyone says yes, even though, like, you know damn well they weren't in the courtroom, because they don't want to say no, because they either don't know what the judge is talking about, and yes is usually the right answer.
Because they think if you say no, the judge is going to be like, you weren't listening to me?
You were late?
Oh, yeah.
That's what but everybody says yes. I've been standing next to a client and know they weren't in the courtroom, and they're like, yes.
And like, are you like hitting
and I say, Judge, actually, I would tell the judge, actually, my client and I were outside of the courtroom talking or whatever. So they need their right. And then, so sometimes the judge is like, oh, go to the back of the room. Anyone who hasn't heard the rights, you're going to be last because you were late.
That is how a couple of them sound.
Yeah, I know. I'm good at imitating judges. The mean ones.
Your client wasn't under oath at that point, so you didn't just perjure your client and say, like, Judge, my client just lied.
I think it was providing clarity of my client's answer.
Okay, all right.
So that the process could be handled correctly.
Okay,
yeah.
Good.
They didn't understand the question, Judge.
Yeah. Judge, their answer was wrong because they didn't understand your question.
Yeah.
All right.
There we go. That's the right answer.
So the process of the arraignment is really part of the justice system where we get our rights read to us, because at the time of arrest in the movies, everyone's told you have the right to remain silent.
Right. It's different rights.
Right.
You have different rights when you interact with the police as when you are in court.
Yeah. You have a right to a fair trial in court.
Do they say
you have a right to
a speedy trial,
and you have a right to confront your witnesses?
Yes, present witnesses on your own behalf.
You have a right to a lawyer, but some of that stuff they say when you're arrested too.
Yes.
If you can't afford one will be appointed to you.
Yeah, I think
that happens.
Maybe they say
that happens in the movies.
When you were arrested, what did they say?
I've never been arrested. Funny. For that overnight hula hooping.
Hula hooping after dark.
I have never been arrested.
I bet that's illegal somewhere.
Have you been arrested?
No. I have never been arrested.
You looked down when I said that.
It's the bright lights. I've been ticketed, which I believe we've talked about on previous episodes. Never been arrested. I've been to several jails, and so have you. So don't talk about that against me.
But not as a prisoner.
No.
Have you been as a prisoner?
No. Oh. I've never been arrested.
Oh, yeah. You have to be arrested before you can go to prison.
Well, you would have a serious constitutional violation if they put you in jail and you weren't arrested.
Right. So tell us about that. Can you go to jail at an arraignment?
Yes, you can. So if you decide at your arraignment you're going to plead guilty to a charge that carries possible jail time,
Why
the judge
would you do that?
Right. Because you're an idiot.
And you don't have a lawyer with you, even though one could be appointed.
Right. The judge can and probably will sentence you as if you're just moving on forward with the case, and that could be jail time.
So back in the day when I used to sit in all the courtrooms just to learn and see what happens in court, and during these arraignments, I would always, you get this moment where you're like, oh my gosh, they're taking this person away like in handcuffs, and they just thought they were gonna
get a $25 fine.
Yeah, and then you see them turn around to their like spouse sitting in the galley going, can you take my keys for me? Park the car out there. I guess go get the car. Because they're going straight to jail.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so here's the really funny thing. So that happens, right? To the first person maybe in the courtroom. And then the next person does the exact same thing and acts surprised when they get put in jail. And the judge is like, some judges are like, well, didn't you see so-and-so get hauled off to jail? And People are like, what?
No, they weren't in the courtroom. They're late, remember?
Right. They were late. So,
But they answer yes.
right. Yeah. I don't know. Or they, maybe by then they've at least learned to say, I don't know.
Okay, so there's a huge difference though between like a speeding ticket, because you'll get a court date on your speeding ticket.
Right.
And is that an arraignment?
So when you get a ticket, there are some offenses that you have to go to court on and some offenses that you can just pay the fine if you want to. So for example, a speeding ticket, you can just pay the fine. That's basically your plea of guilty to the charge, and then your sentence is that set fine. But like you can get a ticket for reckless driving, but you have to appear in court and have the judge go through the arraignment because it carries possible jail time.
Okay, so I've gotten speeding tickets before. We won't say how many. I don't remember how many. It's been more than 5 years though, because I had to like get new insurance and, it falls off after 5 years. So I've slowed down a bit in the last 5 years.
Oh, that's good.
But I've never gotten like a reckless driving. So on the ticket, does it clearly say you have to go to court? You can't just pay a fine?
Yes.
Okay. Because I feel like the speeding tickets are confusing. Like there's a court date, and then can you imagine if everyone showed up for their speeding ticket court dates?
People do. And they've already even paid it sometimes.
They're very confused.
Yes. Or they show up and they're, like how Sarpy County has the TVs.
Yes.
And I think Douglas County has one TV, but whether it works is a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But people are like, well, I have a ticket that says I have court today. And then, court staff either are helpful or not. And that some will say, well, you've already paid it.
And they don't see their name on the TV.
Yeah. So like, where do I go? Oh my God, am I in the right place? Help.
Every day.
Yes.
Yes.
There should be like a courthouse, what do they call it at the museum? They help you?
Oh.
Docent?
Yeah.
With an iPad.
But a docent is like, someone who's researched some art pieces, and they're like, they can tell you the history of all of that one piece of art.
So maybe like a
liaison.
What's the person at the hotel that tells you the good
concierge?
A concierge.
Yeah,
that's
courthouse concierge.
It was a misnomer. Docent.
Yeah,
concierge.
not a myth. It was a misnomer. Yeah.
So they could have they could pull that person's ticket up and see that it was paid.
Yeah.
On their iPad.
That would seem smart. So that wouldn't happen.
Right. They don't even have the right number of elevators at the courthouse.
How many elevators do they need?
Well, there's like a statistic for flow of people and square footage of a building for how many elevators are needed. And the courthouse is like way not in compliance.
How do you know this information?
I don't know. It's a long story. I was in jail one time. No, I'm kidding.
So this is,
it's like grandfathered in because it's a historic building.
Got it. Sarpy County or Douglas County?
Douglas.
Oh, yeah, there's...
Sarpy's a new building.
Yeah, I was going to say they built an extra elevator. All right, so we have elevator problems.
There's elevator problems. Hopefully you're just on the first main floor, the second floor, which is the main floor.
But no one knows where the stairs are unless you know where the stairs are.
Right. Dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not handicap accessible.
The stairs.
The front door of the courthouse.
Oh, that's true.
So
you
dumb.
have to come in
You have to get special permission.
Yeah.
Anyway. So what happens when you go to jail after your arraignment?
Well, you got to figure out where your keys go.
You're going to be late for work.
You're going to get probably a parking ticket because you parked. You probably didn't pay the meter either before you came in.
It's going to be a lot.
Yeah. Okay, so there's different arraignments for felonies, misdemeanors, traffic tickets. You can likely just, if you don't pay your speeding ticket, you need to go.
Right. If you don't pay it before that date, you actually are then expected to be in court to contest the charges.
All right, so let's say you get a reckless driving ticket and you show up to court and you want a lawyer and you don't have one.
Right. So what should you do? So at the point where, a lot of times in the cattle call arraignments, the judges see people that don't have an attorney and they ask them, what are your plans for an attorney? Are you going to hire an attorney? Are you here to ask for one to be appointed? And then if the person says, well, I don't think I can afford an attorney, then the judge says, okay, let's go through the qualifications question to see if you are eligible for a court-appointed attorney.
And they ask some financial questions.
They're supposed to. Some do, some don't.
How much do you have in your retirement account?
How many people do you support? Are you working? Blah, blah, blah.
How much money is in your bank account? Sometimes they ask that. Yeah.
Yeah. If you show up with an attorney, obviously your attorney knows how to handle all of the questions from the judge for you. And, maybe you have a plea agreement worked out. Maybe you're going to plead not guilty, whatever.
Okay. So how do you prepare for an arraignment?
Without an attorney?
Yeah.
I would say if you're going to do it without an attorney, know what your charge is, what the possible penalties are. Even though the judge is going to tell you, it's kind of good to know ahead of time and not have it just fly in your face. Like a lot of people assume anything traffic related can't put you in jail, which is not true. Lots of traffic related offenses can put you in jail. Like driving with...
Not a speeding ticket.
Right.
Unless it's over... How fast do I have to be going?
You can be going 4 million miles an hour. If it's just a speeding ticket, it's no jail. But a lot of times if you start driving super fast, they consider it careless, reckless.
Yeah. So 4 million miles over is probably going to get you a reckless driving ticket. Okay.
But, like I've seen tickets where the person was driving over 100 miles an hour and it's still a speeding ticket.
So what's the difference for an arraignment if you have a lawyer? What's going to happen then?
Well, most attorneys, unless they're going to plead guilty, they've worked out a plea agreement that they're going to do at the arraignment. Most attorneys will file a written request to waive the arraignment hearing so that you don't have to go to that hearing and just plead not guilty. You can actually do that on a piece of paper. So that's one of the benefits, I think, of having an attorney that's familiar with that court system so they can save you the time and the attorney's fees of actually going to that hearing and sitting there and watching 25 to 50 other people go through an arraignment.
And taking time off work and all of that.
Parking.
So someone that doesn't have an attorney probably wouldn't really know that process.
Right.
The waiver of arraignment.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, they could do it if they figured it out. Anyone can represent themselves, but they don't make it easy.
Okay, what should you wear to the arraignment, depending on which judge you have?
I feel like this is a what not to do more than a what to do.
What's your advice to clients, what to wear to an arraignment if you're not waiving it?
I tell people for any court appearance, wear something that shows that you respect the process and you respect the court system. Like with guys, they'll be like, oh, should I, wear my best suit? And I'm like, no, you don't have to do that. But like, jeans without holes, rips, or that aren't dirty, a collared shirt, that's fine. But, you can show up to court in, joggers and a hoodie, and the judge is going to probably treat you the same if you're respectful to them. But
there are some judges that will get mad if your shirt's not ironed.
Really? That happened? You saw that?
At a show.
At a show?
There's a judge.
What?
There's a judge whose name rhymes with show. I'm
like totally blanking.
Oh, okay. We'll just say it. The Low Show.
Oh, Judge Lowe. Oh, you can't he's going to find something with everybody. Like he would look at you and be like, oh, a white shirt. Is that like your favorite color? Or like he just wants to talk to people.
I think back in the day when I was sitting in the back of those arraignments, I heard him often say like, sir, you couldn't iron your shirt before court today. And I just always think how nerve wracking that is for someone.
Yeah.
And maybe they don't have an iron.
Right. But my favorite season is wear your bikini to court season, which is the summer. And I literally have seen it. Like
with a mesh shirt over the top?
Yeah. Well, or not. I've seen a bikini top in the courthouse at court with like tight, small shorts. I've seen men in like tank tops, especially the ones that they like cut the sleeves off and they like cut it way down.
So their armpits sticking out.
So it's barely like the bottom is like barely it's like a flap in the front and the back,
Yeah. So I think it's the idea. I like that. Wear something that shows that you respect the process. Because I've heard some lawyers say like, wear what you would wear to church. What if I don't go to church?
Kate Mahern, the former director of the legal clinic, said that to one of her clients and she wore a church robe. Because that's what she wore to church. Her church, she's in the choir. It was very cute.
But I do see people wearing what they wear to work, right?
Yeah.
Because they need to go to work after that.
Yes, yeah.
So.
Some people will wear like a shirt that says, you know, like Cane's or Buc-ee's or Target or whatever.
Yeah.
The pajama thing really bothers a lot of the judges. And the best one is the you're in court for an alcohol violation and you have an alcohol branded t-shirt.
Or you have like
vest.
a big marijuana leaf on your shirt.
Yeah, you're in court for marijuana and you have a marijuana shirt on. So
maybe turn your shirt inside out before your arraignment.
yeah.
Maybe the court concierge could, hey sir, turn that inside out before you go in.
And like right in the middle of the
Yeah.
rotunda
Well, it's either that or bikini.
yeah. But Judge Lowe likes those types of people too.
All right, what happens if you miss your arraignment?
So your arraignment, when you are either given a ticket or you're arrested and you bond out, you sign either your ticket or your bond papers that says, I promise I will appear at my arraignment. So if you do not appear, a couple things can happen. A warrant can be issued for your arrest, and an additional charge can be added to your case for failing to appear for that court hearing. That doesn't always happen, but it can.
And then what happens on the warrant? They go out and look for you?
Generally not. They generally don't just like run around Omaha looking for people that have warrants. People think that, right?
Yeah.
But they don't.
That's what happens in the movies.
Right.
They like bang on your door. Susan Reff, are you in there? Got a warrant.
And I'm like under the table. No, generally most people get picked up on a warrant when they get stopped by the police officers again.
For speeding. Yeah.
Or driving without your headlights or something like that. Sometimes people find out they have warrants when they go to apply for a job and they do a background check. Some people get their days mixed up. You know, it could be...
Or they just Google their names.
Or they Google, you know. They have...
There's a way to search if you have a warrant, right?
Yes.
Put all the words into Google. Tracy Hightower-Henne, warrant search Nebraska. Something will come up. Not that I have a warrant. I don't have a warrant.
Yeah. I mean, I can tell you the Douglas County sheriffs and the Omaha Police Department make their warrants public. I don't know about like the FBI if they do. I don't know. So
That's on like the most wanted.
yeah. Remember when we were kids? Did you like that was a big deal? I always was like, who's on the FBI most wanted list?
What'd you do with the information?
I made sure if I looked around and saw those people, I was gonna turn them in.
Did you look on the like encyclopedia for their name? Because we didn't have Google then.
No, I didn't look for. I mean, usually it was like so and so's on the news because they did something really horrible.
I watched the whole Jeffrey Dahmer documentary like back to back. It was good, and I feel like he should have been. They tried to get him on a most wanted list for a long time. I mean, his neighbor.
Yeah, wasn't she like calling the police? I disclaimer, didn't watch it, don't know all the details about Jeffrey Dahmer.
She was calling the police so often because of the smells in his apartment, and they
Did she think he was like hurting people?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
She wasn't just like, ew, gross.
Yeah.
It's old food or whatever.
Yeah, and he kept saying, I have spoiling meat. Yeah, it's bad.
He looks really creepy in the previews, the guy who plays him.
Yeah, it was a very good documentary. I think they did a good job with like the facts.
But they had actors. So were they like recreating little scenes?
It's not really a documentary.
Docuseries or whatever they call that.
Yeah, or dramatized something. Yeah, it wasn't a documentary, but I've seen some side-by-sides of the actual court testimony versus the testimony that they reenacted, and it's almost identical. It's pretty good. I thought they did a good job.
Did you watch it because you like legal stories because you're a lawyer, or did you watch it because you like to watch train wrecks?
I think serial killers are fascinating.
I know,
and he like ate his people.
But like nobody watches documentaries about like crazy tax fraud.
So I started,
mean, right? Like even though there's a lot of court stuff about it.
Well, I started one last night about these teenagers that were robbing Paris Hilton's house. And then they would like just go up to all these celebrity homes and open the door and they're just unlocked. And then they
because they're like tweeting, I'm on a cruise in Morocco, and they're like, cool, there's no one at their house.
Kind of like tax fraud, but not really.
To rob somebody is like tax fraud? No. You need to go back to Crim Law 101.
Okay.
You can go to jail for both robbery and tax fraud.
Yeah.
Just FYI.
But robbery is actually physically taking something.
Right.
With force.
No. Burglary.
Oh, that's burglary. Yeah. That's the
No, wait.
Whoa.
Is it backwards?
No, I think you're right. It's burglary is a physical force.
Yeah.
Sure.
Don't hold us to anything.
Assault and battery. Battery.
I think you can just rob a house, but you have to burglarize. I don't know. Now I'm all confused. Is it N before G or G before N?
It's G then N.
Okay.
All right. How does your gender or race factor into how you're treated?
Ooh, probably no different than in everyday life. You know, like judges have biases. They're humans. And if you don't think humans have biases that they can put aside when they put a robe on, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Judges have biases. So I think it depends on who the judge is and then, you know, everything else.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've seen judges treat everyone horribly in a courtroom, and I've seen judges treat everyone very fairly. So, I don't know. I mean, I think there's a lot of factors that can go into answering that, but
yeah. And we can only really answer the courts that we have experience in here.
Well, and we don't get the judge's perspective.
Like, we don't sit in the back of all the arraignments that happen.
No.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
All right. Should we go to the questions from
reoccurring Google questions or whatever they are?
Yeah. We don't even know where these questions come from, but they show up on the screen. They
come from Google.
They show up on the screen. Oh, yeah.
They do come from Google.
What is the funniest thing you've ever seen happen at an arraignment? Okay, I have a story. It has nothing to do with being a lawyer, but my mom and I were a witness to a car accident, and so we got subpoenaed or summons, right?
Yeah.
Show up to, I don't think, maybe it wasn't an arraignment.
It wasn't the arraignment.
All right, well, now I'm going to tell the story.
Court.
Anyways. Yeah, it was court. And we're sitting there waiting. And this was before I was a lawyer. And there's all these lawyers going up to the front table, you know, checking in or whatever. And then all of a sudden this lawyer sneezes and he's facing away from everyone. And he turns around and he's got like this like snot hanging like 4 feet out of his nose. And he turns around and he goes, does anyone have a Kleenex? And my mom and I were like, what is happening? And someone gave him a Kleenex, but we were like, is this a joke? It just seemed like a prop or something.
Yeah. Like lawyers aren't humans. They can't have.
Right.
So is that the booger car accident?
That was the car accident booger note that I made. It was a pretty awful car accident we saw, and, you know, it was hit and run or whatever. And we had stopped to tell the police we saw it. That guy didn't show up.
Oh.
It wasn't an arraignment. It was going to be the trial, right?
Yeah. I'm sure it was a trial.
But it was the same type of courtroom.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Do you got anything else funnier?
I mean, I've just seen the craziest stuff happen at arraignments. People walking up, like we kind of talked about, and they plead guilty and then they go to jail and they're like, what? And then the judge is like, bye.
And then like, what about my medication? I don't know. They'll figure that out.
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate that so many people end up at their arraignment. They don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So
because they haven't talked to anyone.
Right. They haven't talked to a lawyer.
All right. Next.
Okay. Can I wear shorts? How short?
Wear the kind that the pockets stick out. Do that.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. And like with the fringe at the bottom. Or the kind with your butt.
Yeah.
Your
with
butt
your cheek hanging out the back.
Yeah.
Don't wear those.
Yeah. Because
would you wear that to church, Susan?
Well, and you're going to have to sit on seats where you don't know what was on there beforehand.
Yeah, it's not just your butt cheek sticking out.
Okay. Why can't I skip an arraignment if I have something to do?
Well, you can.
Sure. Go ahead. Miss your arraignment. No big deal. A lot of people, I mean, I would get questions like, can you reschedule my arraignment? And if you have an attorney, there's some things the attorney can do, but you really can't like just be like, well, I'm not going to go that day, but I can go on Tuesday. I can't go on Monday, but I can go on Tuesday, so I'll just show up on Tuesday and like figure it out.
What if you're out of town?
I really think that's when you really need to get an attorney, you know, like I'm going to be out of town. Help me figure out what I need to do.
So you can skip, but probably don't do it.
Not skip. Excused
skip
absences.
School. You need to call in sick with a lawyer.
Yeah.
All right, next.
Can I live stream my arraignment?
You want to do updates on Twitter while you're there?
So, I think the answer to this is yes, if you got permission ahead of time, because cameras are allowed in our courtrooms if a person follows the correct protocol. But I think it's only for like legit licensed news outlets.
Can you do it for the gram? Instagram. That's short for Instagram.
Yeah. I'm guessing same thing. If it's
just 15-second little videos on Instagram, like typically they're going to tell you to put your phone away.
Yeah.
Unless you look like a lawyer. So if you want to walk in looking like a lawyer.
A lot of judges have a unwritten rule that you can't have a cell phone like out of your pocket in the courtroom if you are not an attorney.
Right.
So.
All right. Can someone else sit in for me?
Hey, Tracy, I have court on Wednesday. I can't make it. Will you just pretend to be me?
Do they like check your ID?
No.
So not suggested, but yes, you could do it.
This happens where sometimes someone will come and they'll call up the person's name and they're like, he's in jail in Colorado. And they're like, noted, warrant issued. And the person's like, wait, I told you he couldn't. He's like, it's not his choice, you know, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
That happens. Or sometimes moms and dads go.
So don't send your doppelganger. You need to go.
They could go to jail.
Yeah, your doppelganger can go to jail.
Yeah, for you.
Yeah.
Ooh.
All right. Arraignment, all of it.
The biggest takeaway, make sure you have an attorney.
Yeah, get a lawyer.
Don't do it on your own. It's no good. Don't Google what to do.
Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law.
Don't wear short shorts.
Who wears short shorts?
Not me. Bye. Woo-hoo.
Thank you for listening to the Lady Lawyer League podcast, and be sure to like and subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts. If you would like to learn more about our firm, Hightower-Reff Law, please visit our website at hrlawomaha.com.
We'll see you next week.